The American Old West is a fertile ground for stories of courage, vengeance, honor, and the tragedies that shaped the mythology of the United States. Among legendary gunslingers, daring outlaws, and frontier towns where the law was merely a fragile concept, episodes emerged that transcended their own time. One of these accounts, perhaps the most symbolic intersection of gambling and death, is the assassination of Wild Bill Hickok, a figure as feared as he was admired. The gunfighter's death in Deadwood, sealed by a treacherous shot during a poker game, became a classic scene in popular culture, immortalizing the famous dead man's hand. More than a crime, this event reveals the volatility, tension, and fragility that permeated life on the edges of the American frontier.
The dead man's hand, the shot that forever changed the history of the Old West. On the night of August 1st, 1876, as the lawless town of Deadwood throbbed with vice and gunpowder tension, fate took its seat at a crowded poker table. Inside Nuttall and Mann's saloon, smoke curled above the heads of men who lived fast, drank hard, and gambled even harder. Among them wandered a bitter, luckless drifter, Jack McCall. McCall was not there for glory, only to forget himself for a while. But as the whiskey flowed, so did his misfortune. Dollar after dollar vanished from his hands, claimed effortlessly by the man sitting across from him. Wild Bill Hickok, the legendary gunslinger, lawman, and gambler, whose icy calm was as famous as his deadly aim, played with the quiet confidence of someone who knew his place in the world. Seeing McCall's despair, Hickok offered him a few coins for a meal, a small gesture, a humane gesture, but to McCall, drowning in humiliation and liquor, it felt like a knife twisting in an open wound. Pride fractured, rage simmered, and through the night that rage hardened into something darker. By morning, McCall had made his choice. He returned to the saloon with vengeance burning in his chest. Hickok sat once more at the poker table, but this time he had broken his own rule. His back faced the door, exposing him in a moment of uncharacteristic vulnerability. McCall stepped forward, silent, steady, deadly. A .45 caliber revolver rose behind Wild Bill. One breath, one trigger pull, one shot that split the air, and history. Hickok collapsed instantly, his body falling forward as his cards slipped from his fingers. An ace and two eights. Those cards would become immortal, the dead man's hand, a chilling echo of the violence that claimed him. He was only 39. In that instant, inside a smoky saloon on the edge of civilization, the legend of Wild Bill Hickok ended not with a blaze of glory, but with a single bullet fired by a man fueled by wounded pride and whiskey. And so, under the dim lamplight of Deadwood, fate proved a harsh dealer. In the Old West, a man's life could change or end with the turn of a card or the pull of a trigger.
The death of Wild Bill Hickok is not merely a moment frozen in time, but a mirror of the Old West's deepest contradictions, a land where heroes and outlaws walked the same dusty roads, where honor might demand a life, and where a man's name shone brighter than any vein of gold. Hickok's simple act of kindness, twisted by Jack McCall's wounded pride, reveals how easily a fractured ego could turn an ordinary soul into a murderer, especially in a world steeped in strong whiskey, quick tempers, and ever-present steel. That Hickok sat with his back to the door, an instinct he had guarded with near superstitious devotion, stands as a haunting metaphor for the destiny that shadows every legend. In an instant, a friendly card game became myth, a tragedy etched forever into the lore of the frontier. The dead man's hand, still whispered about today, carries the echo of that fateful hour and the wild unpredictability of life where the frontier met the unknown. As for McCall, he became the grim emblem of how desperation and humiliation can twist a man's path. He did not vanquish a hero in a noble duel. He struck from the shadows, killing a man unprepared, driven by bitterness and shame. Hickok, despite the unshakable aura of the invincible gunfighter, proved that even legends bleed. This story, then, is more than a tale of death. It is a meditation on fate, on the heavy price of choices, and how, in a place as perilous as Deadwood, a single moment of misfortune could spark a tragedy meant to endure long after the dust had settled.
If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and share it. That's the only way more people will have access to our content. A big hug and see you next time.